Fink tried to build it. And they ran in slavery.
They beautiful.
We're just poor servants of the regime, and we have no choice but to zip off work and slave labor. Right. So Klaus, as a young kid during this era, grew up going to his daddy's factory, where all the slaves worked for his Nazi dad, helping to build the bomb, attempting to build the bomb. I think technically it was, if I remember correctly, I think parts for the nuclear refinement components and the process involved in refining, if I remember correctly. But he wasn't the only one that actually had ties to Nazi
Brush them teeth.
Where is there? John K. Galbraith.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday. Sunday.
Of the time in, respectable circles at the round tables.
Do they?
He married Catherine Miriam Atwater, a woman who a few years before had been studying at the University of Munich. There, she had lived in the same rooming house dormitory as Unity Mitford, whose boyfriend was Adolf Hitler. After marrying Galbraith, would travel extensively in Eastern Europe, Scandinavia, Italy, France, but also Germany. Galbraith had been due to spend a year as a research fellow at the University of Cambridge under famed economist John Maynard Keynes. But Keynes' sudden heart attack would see Galbraith persuaded to study in Germany instead. So during the summer of 1938, Galbraith would study German land policies under Hitler's government. Because they don't care. Because half of these industrialists were funding the Nazi regime anyways. Half of them were having Nazi rallies back here in the United States. Because it's all political theater. They're just out here trying to make money and trying to feed you bucks. Now the World Economic Forum has ballooned into all this nonsense with assholes like Bill Gates and Sam Altman.
Welcome to the stream, everybody.
Or am I just confusing him? Am I confusing him? I'm probably confusing him. That's not actually John Podesta. He just looks a lot like John Podesta. Because this is Klaus Schwab, so this is Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel. You poor man. You look an awful lot like John Podesta. Awkward. So,
yeah.
The World Economic Forum.
Get skinny skin.
Piece of shit people get up on stage and offer their piece of shit ideas about how to rule the world. I'm sure you can imagine that it's a giant money game. And the way it works, donate to the World Economic Forum a massive amount of money, and that gives you a partnership member level. And then your corporate membership level determines your level of membership in the club. And they publish these donors. The strategic partners donate $500,000 as their annual fee to be a member of the club. Or you could be a regular partner, donating $263,000. Or, I don't even think I reported it in. There's another lower tier membership, I believe. And these are all the big boys. So I actually, of the strategic partners, the $500,000 per year, I decided to just pull in their logos. This is at least $500,000. Some of them donate more. It's nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. And all the big boys are represented. You got the oil companies, you got the banks, you got the advisory groups, you got the BlackRocks, you got the big tech companies, you got the Antichrists, you got the people poisoning your babies, you got them all. They're all there. And it's all this tied together network of money and capital and influence creating fake ass events for a fake global interest. For stakeholders.
That's right.
Stakeholders. That's their big It's not about the shareholders, it's about the stakeholders. Who has the biggest stake in the future? And obviously they do, because they've got all the money, you filthy peasants. So just back up and let them rule the world how they see fit. Forget the fact that they're all friends with Jeffrey Epstein. that Jeffrey Epstein helped get our former CIA director a job at their other think tank buddy's place, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. That they're all intel agency cutouts, corporate cutouts. They're all networking. They all stem from the mindset of the Council on Foreign Relations, which was founded by Paul Warburg, the guy that stole America from America when he helped set up the Federal Reserve Bank and the entire banking system.
Yeah,
that now steals money from you every single day.
boy.
Yes. Yes, it's one big shell game. And they hate you. You are a problem. You're a filthy peasant. You are overpopulated.
To the bone.
And if you could just go away and die, that would be awfully convenient for these animals. So, that is the story of the World Economic Forum. It's happening right now. We actually got distracted from our list when we started talking about the Syrian president. But all sorts of world leaders are there. Argentina, Egypt, Spain, Indonesia, Congo, Israel,
Thickety flockety.
UK Reform Party leader. There's international organization leaders. There's business leaders. Microsoft,
What's up,
Anthropic,
everything.
Google,
Already been done.
Mistral, JP
For
Morgan,
sure.
Palantir, Salesforce, BlackRock, Roche, Matt Damon. Matt Damon is going. Nice. Chinese President Xi Jinping
Your
is
dad.
not going. And the Danish government is apparently staying away as the Greenland dispute.
Hell yeah.
Oh, apparently Sam Altman has not shown up yet. Apparently. And they disinvited the Iranian foreign minister. You're not invited to our party because you didn't go along with our Israeli takeover of your government.
That's not my name.
You piece of shit.
No.
We'll get to why, maybe. Why? We'll get to a little deeper down into why maybe they disinvited
Check the birth
Iranian
certificate.
or people in just a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be going to Florida for other stuff this week. So I'll be off. We won't have Free Speech Friday this week. I'll be putting out segments of this on the YouTube, but you saw it here first, folks. And then I'll be back next week.
I don't know.
Dropping it hard. I have got.
You're smart.
Some big stories to report on in the coming
Smart
weeks.
and huh? Wow. Double-edged sword.
Some follow the money stories to report on that we're not going to talk about yet. But next week we're going to start teasing them. And we're going to start talking about them. And it'll probably take a couple weeks to finish them up.
Yes.
But fuck. And just so you know, CIA, they're already distributed and other people have them. Okay? They're already out there. Okay? So you can get fucked.
Comment list.
Not about the moon call, no, not about anything we've been talking about. Whole other ball game. Big other ball game. So we'll get there when we get there. For now, I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate all the kind words. If you haven't already, go follow our new Buyer Instagram account. That is Buyer.
I'm the hater like you. F my wristband.
One of the worst years in American history. It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic what has happened in this country. Americans never felt so afraid and vulnerable.
We have kind of lost the ability to track how bad things are
Yeah.
With no one in charge.
Maria.
For over 70 years, over one day of bright lights. The protection of the lives and property of Americans is the responsibility of all public.
Totally, babe.
It is my first duty as president to protect the American people. We have it so well under control. But America's shadow government has spent trillions of dollars on secret plans to serve one purpose. The shit really hits the fan. We're on
Yes.
For decades, the government has invested trillions of dollars in a secret plan to save itself.
That's me. That's me. That's me.
While the rest of us die.
Burn, 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 burn.
The most
That's me.
about the future
That
of the
me,
United
girl.
States and the fate of the Earth
Oh, that me?
are being made in secret by a small elite.
Engineers too sick to maintain the power grid. The government's elite have massive generators.
Santos.
Cell phone systems.
Maria.
They've got their own secure network.
That's Mia.
Supermarket shelves.
Yeah.
They've stockpiled enough food for years. And don't get us started.
Santa Maria.
They got a smart food.
Da da da.
It's this massive secret project that funneled unbelievable amounts of money towards the survival of the president and officials
No.
of government, and away from the betterment of American citizens' lives.
We on. Yo house. You busy? Busy?
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus
Chinese virus.
2020.
and making decisions.
President Trump holds a press conference.
Trump said it.
For the growing global crisis.
Easter is our timeline. What a great timeline that would be.
My question is, you two doctors on stage with you, have either of them told you that's a realistic timeline?
I'd love to see it come even sooner, but I just think it would be a beautiful timeline. Jeff?
But even as the president downplays the pandemic publicly,
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
Trump knows something that most Americans don't.
Yeah.
If the pandemic spirals out of control, there are
6'5".
secret plans underway for him and his top officials.
300.
Even his immediate family
332,
will be
girl.
evacuated to secure facilities designed to withstand Armageddon.
Santos Maria.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
On the very same day that Trump was telling the American people the pandemic would magically disappear by Easter, 1,600 miles away, a military team is settling into life underground.
Cheyenne Mountain is one of the U.S. government's three main doomsday bunkers.
Oh yeah, that's where we going. Cheyenne Mountain.
In-depth look at the government.
If they launch a nuke, we're driving to Cheyenne Mountain. Immediate.
Of military commanders. Their mission: command the nation's
It's getting closer. Trump's building his bunker. He already started.
That was hatched 70 years ago.
In the 1950s, the government came up with plans underground where the president, a few staff members,
And me.
not only could take shelter, but also could direct.
The plan is called continuity of government, or
Oh
COG.
no, I'm not booked.
At any moment, we could see thousands of members of the government completely wiped out. If there's a secondary government, a shadow government that is ready to take over at a moment's notice.
No.
These weren't just run-of-the-mill bunkers. Some of them were entire hollowed-out mountains with small freestanding cities that could support a population of even 1,000 people for a month or longer.
Mm.
The bunker system remained a secret until 1974 when a commercial airliner crashed into the side of a mountain in Virginia.
They had these bunkers before
The
1970.
crash revealed a massive secret installation deep inside the mountain, known as Mount Weather.
The ones right here in Colorado.
Mount Weather is now unclassified. Nobody everybody knows about it. But back then it was highly secret. It was heavily guarded. And it's where a continuity team would go in the event of a nuclear war.
The idea was that the government would go there and they would be able to operate the government
Wow.
even when almost everything else had been wiped off.
Crazy cool.
People from the State Department, Justice Department, Pentagon, CIA, and domestic agencies.
Top civilian officials.
I
were
warned
unaware
you,
of Mount
Laura.
Weather, but few knew there was another secret.
Yeah. We on.
Every so
We
often,
on today.
come against continuity of government plans. Sometimes you would spot helicopters practicing for evacuations in the skies over the city. And every so often, in a bar, an official would talk about the secret facilities that they were whisked off to.
Grant's discovery
Lord,
of the
oh,
secret of these facilities happened by accident.
A colleague of mine found a government intelligence ID badge on the floor of a parking
We on now.
Were directions.
To the moon, baby.
This made me wonder, what else is out there? So that launched me on this journey to try to map this secret world out there that I didn't realize ever existed. And the biggest thing I
Having a
was
blast.
the doomsday facility known as Raven Rock.
Yeah.
Raven Rock, like Area 51, remains one of the U.S. government's most classified installations. Can you describe a Raven Rock? What it is, what it's for? No. Raven Rock is an underground backup Pentagon.
It's the most unbelievable place you can imagine. You're 768 feet below the surface.
Don Campbell spent 3.5 years at Raven Rock to improve the president's communications.
Crazy. Laura!
About his time working in the secret bunker.
Basically, they carved out a city underground to survive a direct hit from a nuclear blast. After you go through the security, you walk in and it's basically an underground tunnel. There's a glass door that was 3.5 foot thick that weighed 30 tons. You go through like an airlock. They had 2 of those doors, and then you walk another half a mile.
A half mile deeper into the mountain is the bunker itself.
And you're going past 5 buildings. Those represent the 5 rings of the Pentagon. And each of those buildings are 3 stories tall, and they probably have 50 to 80 offices per floor.
The buildings are mounted on springs to survive the shock waves from a nuclear blast.
There's a common cafeteria capable of serving 3,000 people 3 meals a day for 30 days on lockdown. They had a barber shop in there with 1 chair.
It's got massive reservoirs, generators, even a crematorium if needed, post office, medical facilities, and emergency command and communication links to the U.S. military all around the world. As part of the White House team, Campbell had access to the most restricted part of the bunker. The presidential suite.
The presidential suite is a very secure area. The other people in the site, they had no access, and they were very, very curious. Behind the door. The presidential bedroom was, of course, a king-size bed. Then there was a separate kitchen set up in our suite to feed 30 or 40 people. The presidential office overlooked the war room, which had the same display. It was a duplicate of what they had in the Pentagon. We would look down, and of course, they looked up, and they couldn't see through the glass because it was a one-way glass.
To understand why these bunkers were created, you have to rewind to the 1950s. For some, it was America's golden age. But it was also the dawn of a ruthless fight for global supremacy.
The United States and the Soviet Union stand on the verge of direct military confrontation.
In which both sides built up an arsenal of spectacularly powerful weapons.
Sunday Funday! Yeah! Lord. I consented already. Huh? I can't. You can. Yeah, you can. Commands the road.
There were fallout places where you
Lord, think of how exciting it would be. Think of how exciting it would be for you.
There was no
Dr. Strangelove, the Kubrick film, does an amazing job of parodying the whole notion of the nuclear bunker and decisions being made by a small elite.
Because it would be absolutely vital that our top government and military be included to foster and enhance the required principles of leadership.
Choo-choo! Whoa.
The U.S. government spent billions of dollars to build secret bunker systems to save themselves.
Whoa!
But one thing the system lacks is how to restrain out-of-control residents of the failed building, starting at the war university.
Oh, the little monkey has risen. You ready to go to church? I'm the big dragon. Mm-hmm.
President Trump jumped into the mirage zone.
I'm hilarious.
While Trump's late-night tweets caused many Democrats to prepare for the insurrection.
Santa Maria. Santa Maria. That's me, girl.
United States is under attack. The president probably has 10 minutes, 8 minutes to make a decision about whether to retaliate and about what form of retaliation to order. Inside, there'd be the Black Book, and the Black Book has visual representations of what the different attack options would be. Maybe like the menu at restaurants that say pictures of what you would order.
Maria Santos. Hell yeah. That's me. That is me.
October 27, 1969. Hippies dancing in the street are oblivious to the fact that their arch-enemy President Richard Nixon has just ordered 18 nuclear-armed B-52 bombers to take off and head towards the Soviet Union. Like Trump, Nixon had run as the law and order. He also claimed that his secret plan to end the war.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo. I'm the best. Hell yeah, the best. Exactly.
survivors would envy the dead.
The American people didn't know just how close they came to Armageddon in October 1969. The Soviets called Nixon's bluff and gave him retaliation. Through it all,
Boom the clock.
Talk about that.
I can't think of
Correct. Block a hot, block a hot. Stop acting like a.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute. That I will faithfully execute
of President of the United States. Office of President of the United States.
January 20th, 2017.
Will
Donald J. Trump was sworn in as the 45th president after a campaign divided the nation.
so help me God.
Another man is waiting on the car. While the world is watching in Washington, Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson has been eating away at a secure location. He's ready to take over if something terrible happens in Washington. It's the latest in a long line of designated survivors. Officials take every chance in the presidential line of succession to ensure that in high-profile events, there's always one person ready to step in if the unthinkable happens. Obama's Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, was once one of the fuel lawyers who signed off on the assassination of Osama bin Laden. On January 20, 2017, I've said things about how decades ago, I was very much looking forward to taking office with the rest of the Obama administration. And I actually had math on my phone. Yes, and on the days, hours, minutes until January 20, 2017 at noon. But it didn't go that way. At the very last minute, I was asked to be the designated survivor. The idea of the designated survivor is a relatively recent invention. The recognition that the speed and terror of nuclear weapons in the modern age requires the ability to kill off the presidency in a matter of minutes. Always someone somewhere was always.
There is a fair amount of thinking that goes into it, and the designated survivor would, in the event all the others in the presidential succession ahead of him or her would assume the office of the presidency.
The line of succession moves down through the cabinet in the order in which the cabinet departments were created, beginning with the Secretary of State. And it goes through all the federal departments until it gets to the Secretary of Homeland Security.
In that void of 7 hours and 32 minutes,
As catastrophe struck. What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J.
I would have become president while he did. The Republican president.
Oh, my lantern. Ooh, the suicide bomber.
In that extreme situation, if all of these powers were deployed, what really is a democracy turning into an autocracy?
perilous chapter of American history. When you can't trust that the president is acting in the nation's best interest.
Any attempt to really impose one law Congress, leading figures in the United States that would profoundly
When he'll be safe down in his bunker, while above him, the rest of us are left to die.
Since the beginning of the nuclear are almost
We couldn't figure out in the beginning what was happening, whether or not it was an actual terrorist attack, whether it was an accident. But as more planes were flying into buildings, crashing into the Pentagon, it became clear that it was a nuclear attack.
gotta go. We're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna do our best. This is only a few weeks in for both of us to be tired in 20 years of service. But still in our hearts, we're firefighters.
Nothing like this has ever happened on American soil. And the scale of this is unprecedented. We speak about this sort of fear of confusion and vulnerability.
Every American was scared for their own safety at that point. Because it wasn't clear whether or not there were going to be more planes flying into buildings, whether or not there was going to be
What's that? Follower? Colliderless? Thanks for checking it out. I'm just doing a little epic chess room with these people. Getting some stuff. Pretty sure. Yeah, thanks for watching.
An atrocity which America insists tonight will soon be avenged.
The evidence we have gathered all points to the collection.
My judgment.
And that is most disturbing. You know, why were you manipulating intelligence? Why were you exaggerating the threat? Is this part of a broader strategy to reshape the Middle East? Did you lie about WMD to get your way?
And I think they adopted a lot of information that was at the time viewed as very weak, and they viewed it as fact.
The terrorists know that the outcome of the war on terror will depend on the outcome in Iraq. So to protect our citizens, the free world must succeed in Iraq.
The public are going to trust what their governments tell them, and their governments are also going to create this atmosphere of suspicion around Saddam.
Howdy.
You would have to be, let's face facts,
Hit that follow if you could, that'd be nice. We need some more people.
Saddam definitely does not have WMD.
I'm here almost every day.
Still out, but the problem
Yo.
is that the US and the British were saying he's definitely got them.
there were no weapons of mass destruction. That
Get ready to read these words the fast way. Get ready. Responses come in.
As like so our
very black and white thinking, evil versus good, sort of binary style of thinking.
And so you've got figures like Dick Cheney, who's the American vice president. You've got the Secretary Donald Rumsfeld.
Actually, the most fervent was Deputy outlined their foreign policy that would be much more aggressive in the Middle East. In particular, did not like the fact that the elder Bush had left Saddam Hussein in power after the Gulf War.
Now, you know, these individuals.
Lean smoke!
Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
In many ways, the 9/11 attack was quite genuine for this voluntary excuse for them to push their Middle East reform. No one wanted to topple Saddam Hussein and his dictator in Iraq. Up to this point, Iraq was not in power anymore, certainly, but there wasn't any reason to invade. On the 11th attack on 9/11 itself, Donald Rumsfeld sent one of his aides
and thousands of it. There's no justification for it. It's a product of insanity. It's the insanity of terrorism.
Oh, fantastic. Excuse me.
So 4 days after 9/11, Bush and Clinton were meeting to discuss their response. Bush agreed that the U.S. needed to invade Afghanistan, and that there was no doubt about this. But what was also
Good afternoon. On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes.
That's pretty great because then we get back to the live streams. That's what I'm doing Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. CST, 10 a.m. EST. Candace is going to be back. Everything just starts going again. So you have that to look forward to at the very least. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is a big political commentator who Candace pretty much destroyed, but you didn't actually see when she did it, okay? Especially those of you that are not on X, maybe you're not tuned in, you didn't actually see what happened. Now, you saw her sit down with Barron, okay? And this is right now, she is just ripping this guy up on the show. And Barron's just kind of sitting there like, okay, I guess we're laying into Dave Rubin. Okay, here it goes. I feel like he wasn't expecting almost 10-minute rant on Dave Rubin, but there he is. He's just in the thick of it. Shout out to Barron. But what ended up happening was that this back and forth, or this rant about Dave Rubin, did not start with just Candace just
out of nowhere bringing him up and just having an issue with him. It didn't start like that at all. It actually started in a way that a lot of you don't even know about. It's very, very interesting. We're going to get into that, break that whole situation down. I'm going to tell you why I think his side of the story is complete BS. Play a little clip where Baron thinks so as well. We're definitely on the same wavelength there. Then we're going to get into super chats. Then we're going to get into some messages about the video that I did on Saturday, which was the one about Greg Locke deciding that he could go after Candace in such a vicious way. So let's start with this, and let's jump in. Let's jump all the way in here. Listen to this. So this is actually how the back and forth started. This is actually the thing that pissed Candace off enough to be like, you know what? I have to actually talk about this. I have to get this off of my chest. Because Dave Rubin, just out of nowhere at 9 in the morning, completely unprovoked, nothing was said to him, nothing was done to him. Out of nowhere, he says, I haven't said it publicly before, but it's worth mentioning. It's finally worth mentioning. What happened? What happened that it was finally worth mentioning? Well, she was on with Baron. He hadn't seen that yet. And then what happened the day before? Out of nowhere, something made it so it was finally worth mentioning. Very odd for him to say that. And if you notice, this story that I'm about to tell you is something that Tim Pool touched on, and he said, oh, it's going to come out very soon. That also makes me believe it's a little bit of BS, a little bit of Philadelphia at work kind of thing, a little bit of the shills doing what shills do. He says, the last time I saw Candace at my house, 2022, 4 years ago, 2022, all she talked about for an hour is how much she hated Charlie Kirk. Interesting. An hour, you say? Well, he's going to tell us what she said, yes? That should be good. Let's listen. I remember it vividly, because... Remembers it vividly? That's also amazing. Because the other two people she was ranting about that night were Ivanka and Jared. That's Jared Kushner, of course. Whom we had just met and had dinner with a few days before, and who couldn't have been kinder, more decent people. Yes, this is 100% true. Backs none of it up. Just says it. It says yes, this is 100% true. And when she claims that this didn't happen, why would she do that? Why is he assuming she would do that? And that this is a Philadelphia lie. Ask her if she enjoyed the chicken parm. Now, it's not just that he said this unprovoked. He decided to link a video along with it, retweet a video. Now, this video consists of Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. And what he's trying to convey in this video is that everything that Candace stands for, Charlie was against. It's literally a video splicing up both of them and pitting Charlie directly against Candace. Everything that Candace says in the video, which is pretty much like anti-Philadelphia kind of thing, Charlie has a rebuttal to it. So he's trying to show, like, hey, I'm saying this, and listen, everything she says, Charlie's completely against. If this isn't Propaganda 101, I don't know what is. Now, let's just jump right into the facts of it. Now, right away, he remembers it vividly. Let's go back here. He remembers it vividly. Why didn't he tell us anything that was said? You remember it vividly. You're coming out about it first. It happened 4 years ago. Why not tell us all what she said so we could understand together what exactly happened? Is it because you're lying? Maybe. I don't want to say that, right? Allegedly. Maybe. Perhaps. Maybe he is. Seems like it to me. Okay? Right? I'm going to let Baron explain why that makes sense that he's making that type of thing up. But Candace, of course, responds. And this is a lot of the part that people didn't see, right? This is where the back and forth ensues. Again, 9 in the morning. Barely have time to start the day. She says this is completely and utterly made up. LOL, sheer fiction. You guys are positively desperate to rewrite Charlie's history. That we are moving to fantasy. But since the internet is now interested if it's cool, I'd like to now share the story of why I stopped being friends with you after you bizarrely opened up to me about how you hired a young Christian man who worked on my show at PragerU. You told me his parents were overbearing Christians who were concerned about him playing and working for a Dave Rubin type of couple.
Yeah.
Sure enough, the next time we saw you, you told us a story about how you and your husband just knew that he wasn't just shy, but he was more than likely secretly gay. And how you were encouraging him to experiment a little bit and live the Dave Rubin type of lifestyle. You told me, George, that you encouraged him to go on a date and to have his first kiss with a Dave Rubin type. Shortly thereafter, he quit your show, moved away from Miami. Dave Rubin lives in Miami. That's where he lived in Miami. There's so many opinions I have on everything about him. I was positively sickened by this story because I knew this kid, and yes, he was shy. And the fact that you questioned him about his virginity and dating life and encouraged him to kiss.
Well, I was gonna order like other stuff. Not all that. It's really scary, dog.
Yes, I'm Psycho.
That's so crazy. That's what you do. And I ordered groceries from
Ooh.
Yes, I'm Psycho Man.
Dave Rubin makes you
Or is this enough perversion for one more? What?
what happened, right? Allegedly, Dave Rubin. Like,
no, right now.
You know how these parties go.
Parties go. Someone get addicted to it, and it's usually the person who's not a billionaire. You know what I mean? That's how it works. It's parties. If you're not worth 90 days, you take it in the ready for whatever.
We all saw the case. That's how it goes. We've heard about what's been going on the past few years, right? You think Peter Thiel was in baby oil? He wasn't dipped in baby oil.
It's above him. Are you kidding me? At a certain point, it's
Yes, I'm Saikumal, the alchemist. Yes, I'm Saik. Yes, I'm Saikumal.
You know? Is it that out of the question?
Yes,
And of
I'm
course, Dave
Saikumal.
responds. He says,
Everything you said there is a lie. Other than you know a
Yes,
person's
I'm
source was
Saikumal.
It's amazing. Keep in mind,
Yes, I'm Saikumal, the
he
alchemist.
woke up. Okay? There's no way he woke up. And he's into the vibe. You know? Just clean himself up. Dwight. He possessed certain areas of his life. You know, old man his agents. Certain areas of it. You know what? Let's just go for a second. Let's just for a second.
what do you say? What'd you just say?
She's in business. She's like, oh, you want this whole thing? This yes.
another one minutes after, and then another one minutes after.
And says, as long as we are doing this, who's we? It's just you at 9 a.m. It's just you at 9 a.m. With the face of Amy. 6 years. Here we are at Peter Thiel's house in LA. Strangely, she never mentioned to me he was a journalist. So,
Around one of these humanoid cyborgs. Don't say it. Listen, I'm not selling it. I'm not telling you. I'm just saying. You gotta figure this out. You cannot say that because I make jokes about Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, I'm Saikumal, the alchemist.
You're all hazy. Hell yeah! What? Elon Musk, shirtless, looking like a bag of milk. Oh, you're in for it, man. Don't call them cyborgs to their face. Crazy? So, I say all that to say, of course Candace didn't actually call him a cyborg to his face. That's a weird thing. When you first meet somebody, you gotta look at them a little bit, watch them move around, you know? Peter Thiel, when you rearrange the letters, look at this. When you rearrange those letters, it spells the reptile. Isn't that interesting? So maybe
Yes, I'm Saikumal, the alchemist.
cyborg. Because when you rearrange the letters in his name. I don't know. But yeah, I don't believe it. I don't think you can sit on a story like this, especially, let me tell you something. You're in the ranks of people who are super supportive of Philadelphia, okay? You're a Philadelphian, and you're telling me that you're going to come out with this story years later. felt like I need an opportunity to answer this person. So this person said,
But why didn't you promise us? Right? Why gives us? Because I really am the best. So or makes sense, but it was like, well, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Because it just makes right? I tried to stay above it, but no, you haven't. What? No, you haven't. This is nuts. Here's the thing.
just like Alex, just like everybody. Everybody was, you know, I'm not going to say working with Philadelphia. I'm not going to say that. But I will say, pretty close. You know what I mean? Pretty close. So for him to be like, I'm trying to stay above it, particularly matters that are off camera, it's like, come on, man. You're just making stuff up.
Yes, I'm Sai Kumal, the alchemist.
Saying she hated Charlie Kirk, she gets a letter from Turning Point. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. I know for some of you it's like, I don't know about all this. I've been watching coordinated efforts since I started this channel. That's what it started on. When I started looking at Davos and WEF and seeing like, oh, okay, so they say this, and then these people act, and then lower government acts. For some reason, everything that's on their agenda 2030 seems to be the agenda that every single company and movie production company, they all seem to have the same aligned goal, and it all matches up to 2030. I've been watching this for so long. When all these are by I was watching the weird coordinated efforts. His press secretary would say something. The next day, all the news outlets would say something. It was just the next day, all of the ones who were on that side would say something. This is weird. But I'm saying this. What's the promise? News outlet bring it up. You know, you hear a bigger one and another one and another one, and then it's on it, and then someone writes an article. It's literally the bending public perception at work. You can see it at work, and every time you see it, it makes my skin crawl. Just wild to me. Anyway, let's get into the. What do we got? We got super chat. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna be reading all of them, but I just want to read these ones because I missed these ones. Some of them were on this video that I just made yesterday about Greg Locke.
reports always there being not trigger point, etc. What she's talking about is unlikely if you weren't there on Monday, or sorry, it was like Thursday or Friday. We discovered because somebody sent in a super chat and asked me, does Charlie ever wear white shirts? And I went and looked into it, and in all of his prove me wrongs, all of his canvas tour, he never wears white. He wears black every single time. There might be graphics on it, this and that, but it's always black. And then that one day, he wore white. So she's saying she wonders if Erica actually suggested it. I don't know if Erica actually did. The story of them leaving each other that day, that morning, is very odd. Erica tells us her friend, when Charlie gets home, she's in bed. No, she's not. No, she's not. She's been staying with us. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a real problem. But it's a beautiful thing, so I don't know if I don't get it. It's almost like I was bring this up on your wife is like sleeping the other one, and it's like some side of like your wife is now turning her back on you know? So I don't know if she suggested shirt because he kind of was just like, I gotta go, because that was the story afterwards that hey, didn't get to kiss goodbye. So it was like, you know what I mean? That's the way this is. It's like they didn't get a kiss goodbye. And I used all of her very pro Philadelphia. I don't know. Let's go to the next one here. Please say that you make and sell Philadelphia mints for real. Make it so. Also, watch the movie Spy Who Stay. Is that Austin Powers? Is that what you're talking about? It's like Powers. Secret Agent Shagwell. Erica Kirk. That's who she is. That's who I'm just here. I'm just going to find the ones that are not liked. That way I can actually track which ones I need to read. Jamie says thanks. Thanks so much, Jamie. Really appreciate you. And then we go here. What is this name? Is this a real name? I think I read this one already. Mitchell, I like your con.
This is the story of Ukraine's scaled-down kill zone strategy and how it's breaking Russia's front line.
and 2025. At the same time, Russia has been estimated to have suffered around 1.2 million casualties, including deaths and severe injury. The equipment losses in 10 years, all in the middle of active military conflict. Think about that for a moment. Russia had basically ruined itself, and all it got was less than 2% of Ukraine's territory. In 2023, Russian forces managed to capture a meager 188 square miles. The year 2024 saw better results, with about 1,500 square miles seized. But that still amounts to less than 1% of Ukraine's total territory. By 2025, Russia's advances had slowed to a crawl, sometimes averaging just 150 to 400 feet per day in key sectors like Kupiansk and Pokros. To put this in perspective, that's slower than the Allied advance during the Battle of the Somme in World War I, which was one of history's most infamous examples of attritional grinding. And at the heart of Russia's inability to break through lies But to understand why this strategy is so devastating, we need to look at how it differs from every major war of the 20th century. During World War I, trenches dominated the battlefield. Soldiers dug in, artillery pounded positions for days, and then infantry went over the top into no man's land, hoping to overwhelm enemy positions through sheer numbers. The kill zone was defined by machine gun range, which is maybe a few hundred yards of open ground where attackers were vulnerable. If you made it across that deadly space, you had a chance. World War II brought mobility back to warfare. Blitzkrieg tactics used
impact. Military analysts worldwide considered it a potentially game-changing adaptation of going back to analog designs that would give Russia a decisive edge. Ukraine responded by capturing Russian fiber optic drones, reverse engineering them, identifying their weaknesses, and building better versions within months. By summer 2024, Ukrainian companies like 3D Tech had started developing their own fiber optic drones. But they didn't just copy the Russian designs, they improved them dramatically. Ukrainian engineers replaced Russia's heavy frames with lightweight carbon fiber, dramatically improved the spool design to reduce drag and friction, optimized weight distribution for better flight characteristics, and developed systems that could reach 15 to 25 miles away, far exceeding Russian capabilities at the time. Notably, this range coincided with the development of the kill zone as we see it today. The Ukrainian fiber optic drones became lighter, faster, and more reliable, and could hit targets at longer ranges than their Russian counterparts. What's more, Ukraine built a massive domestic production capacity, with over 200 companies now working on drone development and dozens of models approved for military use. This decentralized competitive ecosystem ensures constant innovation as companies race to develop better, cheaper, more effective systems. This pattern repeats across every domain of the war. Russia develops a new tactic or technology. Ukraine analyzes it, adapts it, and deploys an improved version faster than Russia can scale up production. It's an innovation cycle that would make Silicon Valley jealous, except the feedback loop happens on an active battlefield where lessons are measured in lives saved or lost. This is where Ukraine's kill zone strategy becomes something far bigger than just one country's defensive tactics. It's reshaping global military thinking and potentially redefining Western defense strategies for decades to come. NATO members are now openly acknowledging that they need to learn from Ukraine and not the other way around. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen stated it bluntly. The only expert right now in the world when it comes to anti-drone capacities is Ukraine, because they're fighting the Russian drones almost every day. We need to take all the experiences, all the new technology, all the innovation from Ukraine and incorporate it into our own rearmament. Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski echoed this sentiment even more directly. It's the Ukrainians who'll be training us on how to stand up to Russia, not the other way around. This represents a fundamental inversion of the traditional relationship between NATO and Ukraine. For decades, NATO tried to bring Ukraine up to alliance standards through training programs and military reforms. Now, after 3 years of the most intense drone warfare in history, NATO countries are going to school on Ukrainian tactics. In September 2025, following Russian drone incursions into Polish airspace, Poland and Ukraine announced plans for Ukraine to provide anti-drone training in Poland. Britain is mass-producing interceptor drones developed in collaboration with Ukraine. Romania has unveiled plans to manufacture drones in partnership with Ukrainian companies for domestic use and potential export to NATO allies. Even the United States, the world's preeminent military power, is reportedly negotiating a landmark deal to acquire patent-tested Ukrainian drone technology. NATO established the Joint Analysis Training and Education Center in Poland, specifically to leverage real-time lessons from the Ukrainian conflict. The alliance is fundamentally rethinking its air defense doctrine to focus on swarms of cheap attack drones rather than expensive missiles and fighter jets. The previous method of deploying a $4 million Patriot missile or an F-35 sortie to shoot down a $400 drone is simply economically unsustainable. The broader implications are staggering. Ukraine has demonstrated that smaller nations can challenge larger adversaries in key military technologies if they move faster, innovate constantly, and integrate the private sector into their defense strategy. The traditional Western model of defense procurement, which takes years or even decades to build new systems, rigid bureaucratic processes, has been completely outpaced by Ukraine's battle-driven development cycle that measures improvements in weeks. Former Ukrainian Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzny predicted that future wars would be won by countries that focus their resources on drones, electronic warfare, and artificial intelligence. The Russia-Ukraine war has become the world's largest live-fire testing ground for these technologies, and every military power is watching closely and adapting its doctrines based on Ukrainian innovation. Even China is studying how cheap unmanned systems can challenge expensive traditional forces. Taiwan is examining how drone wars can defend against amphibious invasions. Israel is analysing how robotic systems can reduce casualties in urban warfare. The lessons from Ukraine's kill zone strategy are spreading globally, potentially reshaping how every nation thinks about defence. But perhaps the most important lesson is this. Technological superiority in modern warfare is temporary and fragile. What matters isn't having the best equipment at the start of a conflict, but the ability to adapt faster than your enemy, to innovate under pressure, to fail quickly and learn faster, and to create a whole of society approach that harnesses civilian innovation for military purposes. Ukraine's kill zone strategy works not because Ukrainian drones are necessarily better than Russian ones on a one-to-one basis, but because Ukraine has built an entire military-industry ecosystem. The concentration of independent companies pooling their data, resources, and getting feedback in practically real-time actual combat situations means that they can iterate and improve faster than Russia's centralized bureaucratic defense industrial complex. Every day, Ukrainian engineers receive feedback from frontline operators about what works and what doesn't. Every week, new modifications appear on drones in the field. Every month, new capabilities emerge that weren't possible the month before. This creates a compounding advantage that grows over time, even as Russia tries desperately to keep pace. Russia is learning that you can't brute force your way through a modern kill zone. You can't overwhelm it with artillery when drones spot your guns and strike them before they can relocate. You can't use massed armor when every tank that enters the zone faces dozens of FPV drones. You can't rely on electronic warfare when fiber optic drones are immune to jamming. You can't even safely resupply your frontline troops when logistics routes extending 20 kilometers behind the line are under constant surveillance and attack. The kill zone strategy has essentially turned the entire concept of offensive warfare on its head. In traditional military thinking, the offensive has the initiative. They choose when and where to attack, forcing the defender to spread forces to cover all possible approaches. But in drone-saturated warfare, the defender has perfect awareness of the battlefield and can concentrate overwhelming firepower on any point instantly without moving a single soldier. This is Ukraine's genius, turning Russia's own preferred tactics into strategic liabilities. Russia excels at wars of attrition and throwing massive resources at problems until they crack. But what happens when every soldier, every tank, every artillery piece you commit to the offensive enters a kill zone where it faces not opposing infantry, but an omnipresent network of autonomous weapons that can strike from any direction at any time? You get exactly what we've seen over the past 3 years. The slowest, most costly offensive in modern military history, where Russia trades 1 million casualties for a percentage of territory, where generals send wave after wave of troops into what they themselves call the meat grinder, where the economic cost of the war is draining Russia's reserves, while Ukraine's defensive strategy requires a fraction of the resources. And here's the truly terrifying Russia. This kill zone advantage isn't static, it's growing. Every month, Ukrainian drones might get better, cheaper, and more numerous. Every month, more ground robots join the battlefield, reducing the need for human infantry. Every month, more countries share technology and tactics with Ukraine, while Russia becomes increasingly isolated. Ukraine started by having practically no drone industry, only to end up building over 5 million drones in 2025. And Russia knows this. That's why the Kremlin is actively pushing for negotiations that would freeze the conflict and give them the territory militarily. They understand that time is not on their side, that every month Ukraine's defensive advantages grow while Russia's offensive capacity erodes. Remember, Russia started this war with roughly 900,000 active troops. They now suffer 1.2 million casualties. They've essentially cycled through their entire pre-war military and had to recruit, mobilize, and coerce a completely new army, and then some. And this new army is increasingly made up of the desperate, the highly motivated, or those with ulterior motives, up to and including Ukrainian resistant agents who deliberately infiltrate Russian forces to sabotage operations from within. Russia's defense budget for 2025 reached an astounding 40% of government spending, figures not seen since the height of the Cold War. Yet, despite this massive investment, Russia's military-industrial complex has practically collapsed as an export industry. Everything Russia produces must be kept domestically, creating an economic death spiral where military production consumes ever larger portions of GDP without generating revenue. Meanwhile, that same military production relies on railways to transport equipment to the front. Those same railways are increasingly targeted by Ukrainian sabotage operations. Tanks and ammunition sit in storage, useless to the front, because the trains can't safely deliver there. And even when equipment reaches the front line, it enters the kill zone where drones await. This is the culmination of Ukraine's strategy. A defensive system that actively degrades Russia's capacity to wage war by imposing unsustainable costs on every offensive operation. It's attrition warfare flipped on its head, where the numerically smaller defender inflicts disproportionate losses on the supposedly superior attacker. And the world is taking notice. If Ukraine can hold off a nuclear superpower for 3 years and counting, through technological innovation and adaptive tactics, future conflicts are going to look a lot different from what we've seen before 2022. Thanks for watching. Now, to see how Ukraine's resistance movement is complementing this kill zone strategy.
Well, g'day and welcome to this week's Q&A. Hard on the heels of the quite extraordinary and I think intriguing James Fox, Sagitar Brazil, UAP, UFO crash press conference was held at the National Press Club just last Tuesday the 20th. And here to help me through it, of course, is Megan Minnick, who was our reporter on the ground in DC. How did it go? Tell me some of the feelings that you had on the floor on the day. What was the sense?
And everybody was locked in on what they were saying. You know, there would be funny moments and people would laugh. It almost was like everyone was sharing emotions together and exploring things together. And some of the testimonies, you know, we've heard this before in Moment of Time and over time, but hearing it again in person just felt so real. But I kind of felt like everyone was together. So emotional and great.
From where I was sitting, I found it quite moving to see the emotion in people like Dr. Italo Vecchiarelli and Dr.
Mm-hmm. No.
Oh, that's Eric Swalwell. And who did Eric Swalwell?
Eric Spitwell?
Oh, this one I know. He called them all liars and phony because they made fun of Trump. Yeah. And that, but yet they insulted all the January 6th police that were there. Yeah, points. Yeah. It was pretty good. Congressman Walwell. Offended Republicans in Congress by calling them out in a congressional hearing. Then after Thursday, former special counsel Jackson testified before the House Judiciary Committee about his investigation into Trump. And during those hearings, Congressman Falwell let his real feelings fly.
My Republican colleagues are a joke. They're wrong. History will harshly judge them. You guys are so lucky. They would have to tell you what they really want.
Yeah.
You're tiny. You're small. You're shrink.
This is a man trying to get elected to be governor of California now, right? So, like, has he been saying this all along, or only in the campaign year? So what? I know. Let's see. Okay. I'll just put out there and then bring it up for that thing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I ain't doing nothing.
This country to be doing. Let him have it. Let us at least hear it. Let it fall on my ears and bring it.
What's the purpose of this?
It's a final report on the January 6th stuff. This was a special counsel and their investigation of the one. While the Donald Trump is one of the saying things like, quote, deranged Jack Smith being decimated before Congress, and Jack Smith to deranged Jack allowed to practice law. Kind of sign of progress. Don't like that.
It's just ready to round.
Bitch is a crook. Making one thing very clear. President Trump engaged in a criminal overturn to prevent the loss of national power. President Trump illegally got classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago club. Our investigation developed. President
Yes. Yes. Yep.
quickly address the police officer. That the fault does not lie with Donald Trump. It lies with Johan Pittman and the U.S. Capitol leadership team. We know they had the intelligence.
Yes, love.
Alright, let's see your official. I'm so caught up in people gossip. I'm sorry, we're too busy having Tay on the tail of discourse. The black community right now.
Oh wow, this girl is
Every episode, Brooklyn back up again. Does he not?
nice. It's nice and soft and not hurt.
Nine.
He looked like the dude in the Lifetime movie. What was it? He's not abusive, he's just firm.
Yeah.
Who did Brooklyn Beckham date?
His parents.
Brooklyn Beckham's parents. Yeah, I'll tell you about fun. What are they? How did Brooklyn Beckham?
I only know this story because my wife read it to me from her phone in bed. But no one understands it, so no one really understands it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened, but this is what I heard during lunch. The woman said that she wanted the first dance with her son. Dance with him inappropriate. Yeah. That's everybody feels bad and embarrassed her.
Brooklyn Beckham first Instagram really in an Instagram post Kardashian type stuff, and I don't think that's true. Just quick shows that family is only as real cream lips, something called Vodafone, perfume, watches, whiskey, skincare, fashion line. I'm sorry, that's all we have time for to mention right now.
Do they do cameos?
This is the moment of desperation. Instagram post saying his family is not happy with a particular person in his life. Who is that person? Andy Rick. Oh, the wife. Yes. Brooklyn's wife, Nicola Kelsey Beckham, shared by the Here's what happened. What was supposed to be Nicole's first dance.
My mom hijacked my first date with my wife. Called me to the stage where my mom was waiting to dance. Very inappropriate on for you to dance inappropriately. For you to drag your entire
Fucking bullshit. I'm good.
Today, and author of the new book, Five Bullets, Elliot Williams. How are you doing today? It's a crazy time.
LID!
Today, I was just on, that's why, as viewers may not know this, I literally was a couple minutes late to be with you, because just on television, talking about this Jack Smith hearing in Congress. This is whiplash in a whirlwind time, certainly in legal news, my world is, and it's just, can't keep up.
Okay, let's start with, I noticed that Brett Kavanaugh was the most outspoken about the Lisa Cook thing. And I'm wondering if there is a reaction to how badly he has been branded in public for what they're calling the Kavanaugh. And I've read that this branding was really like, it really personally bothers him. Like Kavanaugh's not, of course, is that a nice agent, because it's the way he lives, most people that are listening. Elliot has a little more in his skin than I do, that they can legally stop him. And so, what is your take on Brett Kavanaugh?
Oh my goodness. It's, he is the great story to come out of the Supreme Court over this generation, because we live in a world where Brett Kavanaugh is regarded as a moderate voice in the Supreme Court. That's how the court has shifted so much, certainly in my lifetime of following the court. And there are circumstances where Kavanaugh does buck the party line somewhat. Now, let's be clear, it is an unabashedly conservative court, and Brett Kavanaugh, his entire career, has been an unabashed conservative. So it is quite fascinating to watch the middle, what we think of as the middle on the Supreme Court, shift before our eyes. Now, with respect to this idea of stops of citizens and so on, that's quite profound. Now, obviously, we know, going back to the history of law enforcement does have really broad authority to stop people for a host of reasons. But ISIS was a threat here. And in incentives that they've been given to carry out their immigration enforcement mission, my gosh, look at what's happening around the country.
Okay, you served inside the Justice Department, and you're sitting here watching it get completely dismantled, and you're watching really smart, competent people that believe in justice, that did not join the Justice Department to become rich, because they people are so smart, they could have gone to work for a top-tier law firm in Manhattan, Los Angeles, London, wherever, that they believe so much in the rule of law. And these people are gone from the Justice Department. They're going one by one. And so how vulnerable is that? Collapse as it pertains to the real rule of law.
It breaks my heart to say it, Jennifer, but I don't know. It's because, what people don't understand, I not only work in the department, I worked at ICE for 4.5 years. I was a senior political appointee at ICE under the bus, which we'll talk about all the time. What people don't understand is that a great percentage of these folks are actually political conservatives. This idea that it's this left-wing debate, what a big now to America, and I'm going to tell you something that's true. These are people traverse without to another. Things were different under Bush. In a way, that's good for America. It keeps us sort of thinking about what's really important to us, evolving, working together, and so on. What we're seeing here is not a normal partisan step.
This is not about control between left and right. This is the invasion of
U.S. attorneys who have been confirmed by the Senate at all. You saw it in New Jersey with Selena, a true former lawyer, has some personal connections to the president. You see the Eastern District of Virginia with Lindsey Callaghan, also unfit for the role, not put in it by the President of the United States, not confirmed by the Congress. And what, according to the President, is seeing is that this is actually stirring up, I was going to say a bad word, but still early on. Fucking up that they want to bring. Okay, the they know that. Here's a case that they want to bring because it's the top of the office. The person is improperly the role. And so it's a problem, not just for partisan, it's literally damaging the very work that apparently they put their folks in. It's just my fault.
I want to talk to you about kind of like the guardrails that are remaining. And I think this is really the federal judges are doing their job, holding up the rule of law. Like they really
Lara.
Take to the Supreme Court and shadow dog it, and they are completely in the same for Donald Trump. And my question is, like, psychologically, I think about as a layman, a non-lawyer person. When I think about a Supreme Court justice, I think like I don't educated, super intellectual, and then now I look at like Alito or Thomas, and I think, are they just radicalized, just like Bubba is, Wool of Bubba by Fox News? Are they just like the flags that they're flying up on the Alito's wife? That also fascinates me from a psychological standpoint, that somebody that has that much education cannot critically think or is just so incredibly biased.
It's really interesting. It's, every president is entitled to put in people that share what he thinks is the judicial vision or what he wants to put on the court. All sorts of presidents have done it. You really touch on
Bastonians. 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 You got me good.
On that issue and that issue. So Alito had a flag on his house that some January 6th folks were seen to have, and many observers thought, wait a second, that's endorsement of his side. Something I said to your friend Scott Jennings on air around this issue is, imagine two things. One, I am an Eagle Scout, proudly. If I were a judge and threw a Boy Scouts of America banner on my house, and the Boy Scouts had a case before me, and they were being sued or suing something, I could not be seen by very much. I could not be seen as fair. I would make so much publicization and take that out of my house. It was exactly that. So we lost some of this fear or notion that justices are ought to be apolitical, and it seems to have gotten more extreme in the past years.
And actually losing that veneer, I think last week, George Strait expert professor, On the whole high ground, we're alphas and we're so tough, and Donald Trump's our leader. Mind you, Donald Trump wears a full face of makeup every day. He changes his mind in the morning. We're going to go to war with Greenland by the evening. He's been dog walked by NATO. They go, oh, brilliant art of the deal. I mean, I've never seen such. They talk about women needing to be submissive to men. Submissive nature misogynies in others.
How back?
Because I just I think his messaging helps us.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. It's definitely whiplash, and all of media is figuring out who they are and what their voices are. Now, on this idea of toughness and versus submissiveness or whatever else, which is something fascinating that I've thought about quite a bit, and quite frankly, in the immigration context too, so much of what governs policy coming out of Washington right now is about the toughness and the masculinity and the aggressiveness. You know, if you look at ICE's Twitter